Welcome to Coffee Meets Cloud, where three women in tech come together to share real stories about leadership, life, and everything in between. Join our hosts, Caramie McCollum.
Oh, I love the voice note feature, y'all.
Cassandra Parker.
I'm hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit.
And Rachel Rogers.
We have the power to change it.
Your go-to source for candid conversations and unfiltered insights. So, grab your coffee, pull up a chair, and join the chaos.
Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Meets Cloud. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining us. Good morning, ladies. How are we doing?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Doing good.
I'm also fabulous. I fell asleep by 9 o'clock last night, so your girl is rested.
Nice. That's awesome.
I feel amazing.
Your skin is skinning. I mean,
I know.
So
you got it going.
Now, will I stay this rejuvenated? No, because about midday, I will crash and burn. But I love mornings. Mornings are when I feel my best. So,
yeah. Nice. I used to be such a night person. And so now to be like in my old age, quote unquote, I feel like I'm such more of a morning person than I am a night person because I have to get my sleep. I have to go to bed.
I feel like it definitely happens that way. Like as a teenager, right? You stay up all night. You can't wake up in the morning, right? And then as you get
sleep all day,
certain stages in life, yeah, it's like all of a sudden it's like it's 4 a.m. and I'm wide awake, and you're like, God damn it.
yeah. And like the abuse I put my body through as a teen and young adult, like, you know, because she would just bounce right back. It didn't matter from lack of sleep to really poor diet to drinking a whole bottle of Grey Goose and getting up the next morning like nothing happened. Like she was a champ. And then one day it felt like it was overnight. One day I just turned a corner and my body was like, listen to me. Yeah. Listen to me. I'm
Sit
tired
down.
of this.
I'm not dealing with it.
You're not doing this anymore.
No.
Make better choices.
Now I feel like what my father-in-law told my wife one time. He was like, I swear to God, you walk under a Bud Light sign and get drunk. Now my body's like, no, girl, that's a toxin. We don't do that around here.
I need some water. Thank you.
Yeah, you need some
We have to hydrate.
An aspirin. Yeah.
Yes.
Where's your liquid IV?
But you know, I wish when I was younger, I cared enough to like take care of myself more because I don't feel like I would feel the way I feel now if I did take care of myself when I was younger. Like all this skin stuff that I'm doing right now, which by the way, if you're looking for a skin regimen and you are in your 40s, my skin sisters on TikTok have got me like in a chokehold. I am loving it. I'm doing all the things and my skin is better than it's been in years. So anyway, that's a tidbit on the side.
Is that like a social media handle? Like okay.
Yeah, so their names are Gina and Marissa, I think are their names, but I think their handle is like My Skin Sisters. They're two estheticians and they're in their late 40s, early 50s. And they've like transformed their skin using all these regimens. And they go to like Ulta, Target, and they tell you like, yeah, this is the like most amazing whatever you can get, but you can also get this one. And this is the regimen in which you do. So and they're all about Korean skincare. So I started on this and I have like 13 products that I'm using because anybody that knows me knows I've spent a lot of money on trying to get my skin looking better. But this is very affordable, which I really appreciate. It's not like, hey, you got to spend $1,000 on this regimen. You can go spend like $10 on a really good serum that's almost as good as the $80 one. So anyway, I've been all obsessed with it. So I've got my little setup and I'm doing all the things. But I wish that when I was younger, I would have known these things. So I'm trying to impart on like my nieces, double cleanse, don't wear your makeup to bed. Like do these things now so that you don't have to reverse all these sun damage.
I hope you can reach her. I hope you can reach her because I wouldn't have listened. Like thinking back to the way I was, I just kind of rolled my eyes at
you don't have to. You look good.
And I was at the hair salon just last week and it's filled with young hairstylists. My girl's very young, but that girl knows how to do hair. So I'm loyal. But there was one of the girls working in there, and she was talking about, she said something about tanning, how she was going to be out all weekend tanning. I said,
No, ma'am.
listen, I really don't mean to be one of those 30-something-year-old women that I would have rolled my eyes at, but please hear me. You don't know what I've been dealing with in these last few years, and it happened so much faster than you think. Spray tans and tanning lotions and all those things have come so far. Future you will thank you if you don't do that to yourself now.
Amen.
And she was like, like she just, you could tell it immediately went one ear in one ear and out the other. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to try to do that again.
You're going to look like a leather purse when you get older, but that's fine. That's your decision. We're just trying to impart the wisdom of our we're now the elders.
Oh my
You're
God.
not the elders. Oh my gosh.
Please don't age us that far.
Yeah.
But have y'all heard the statistic that if you got sunburns as a kid, how you're so much more likely to end up with skin cancer spots as an adult? So,
well, I mean, look, at the end of the day, especially if you play outdoor sports, like I feel like there's some things that are just going to happen, like sunburns, right? And even if you're a spectator of those sports, you don't always remember to reapply, right? Even if you start out with the best of intentions. So I think, there's the reality part of this of like some of that is going to happen in your life. But to your point, let's not like intentionally go out
try to
and lay out
minimize
in the
it.
backyard and, become a lobster.
Well, I think it's two things, right? Some people don't even realize that tanning in some respects is just damage. Like it's just, you are burning and damaging your skin, and then the sunburn and the peeling and the brown is the results, right? And it's your largest organ. So there's that part that people don't realize, you're literally damaging that largest organ to get those results. And then the second part is when you're a certain age, because I was this way. I mean, I don't know if everybody's this way, but in your mind, all the things you hear about are like them problems. Like that's way out from now. If I have to worry about that at some point, that's way out from now. Or it's not going to happen to me. These things I hear about are the things that always happen to other people.
Let me tell you about those them problems on the way out. I wasn't young just very few minutes ago, it feels like. Like I have turned into this age this fast. What my parents always used to say is like, oh, the older you get, the faster time flies. I didn't believe it. I was like, I'm never going to turn 16. I'm never going to drive. Oh, I'm never going to turn 21. I'm never going to do these things. And now it's like, holy crap.
Yep.
What happened to my life?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's definitely, and I think too, like one of the pressures, especially when you're a teenager, right? Especially when you're in those formative years, you don't see pasty white people as the pretty cover people on any magazine or any ad. So there's a lot of pressure to be tan, to look a certain way, to, have those things. And I know we went through this whole like body positivity stage, but even through that body positivity stage, we focused more on weight than we did on things that cause skin damage, right? We didn't say, hey, be pasty white and be 300 pounds. We said, be pasty white and then don't be in something. But if you're 300 pounds and you're brown or you're browner, then you're totally in. So I think, we've got to work on that too. As much as you try to tell people about things that can hurt them, the hurt seems so far off. And the pressure to fit in and to be the most beautiful person or to look a certain way to get the guy's attention or the girl's attention or whatever you're trying to do, that's an immediate pressure. And that's something as a society we continue to push.
Yes, we do.
It doesn't change just because we know all the facts about skin cancer now. No one's, I'm sorry, the three of us aren't on, Maybelline ads, right? Like
no.
Unfortunately.
That's not happening. Yeah.
Come on, Maybelline.
Still waiting. Right. Still waiting on that phone call. Well, before we pivot from the skin part, take it from the Kardashians, people. Your neck, moisturize and sunscreen your neck. I mean, your face is important, but your neck and your hands. age you faster. Like age you meaning like you can do things to your face, but there's only so much you can do once your hands and your neck have gotten to that quote unquote old. Moisturize and sunscreen your hands because your hands get a lot more UV exposure than you really think about or realize. Like just driving in the car, your hands are up on the wheel.
Wearing clothes, your hands are exposed.
Yeah, exactly. So I heard that from the Kardashians one time, and I was like,
I wear driving gloves now.
You gotta wear driving gloves. That's it. I mean,
yeah. Well, speaking of,
this actually exists, by the way, and people do wear them.
I have a great friend who had like an allergy to sunlight for a long time and had to drape something like over her arm on the like left side when she would have to drive in the car because it would break her out. It was the wildest thing.
Yeah. Oh, look at a truck driver. Take it from my husband who's been trucking forever and a day. Look at a truck driver. That left arm is always darker than the right one. If you ever see a strangely dark on one side person, it's probably a truck driver because their arm's in the window.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And there's UV protection on the glass, but not
enough. I mean, they're in there for hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
That's crazy.
The more you know.
Yeah, I was going to say you would never think about something like that. All right. So in the vein of health, and it's funny now when I do certain things like movements with my face now, I can totally see it. Both sides are a little bit swollen, but my thyroid stuff, I wanted to share this. Oh, I already told you guys. I wanted to share this because I would have never known. And it's just unbelievable to me how subtle things can be that actually mean something. So you guys know, and I think we talked about in the last episode that I had the ultrasound on my thyroid. I think at that point I had the ultrasound, but I didn't have the results. And then early this week I had the labs. So both are about the thyroid. Now, one interesting fact is that when you get normal labs taken, even if they're quote unquote checking your thyroid, they don't always pull all of the levels that tell you about your thyroid. It's usually just the THO, the hormones going to and from your thyroid. So is your brain telling your thyroid to function properly? And is your thyroid then releasing the right hormones? That's generally all they check. So the ultrasound showed nodules, which on their own is not uncommon, very common, and usually benign. But then the labs showed an extremely elevated thyroid antibody. So my primary has referred me to an endocrinologist. I have to call them today, actually, because he believes I have what's called Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which for anybody who, that's also common. That's why I want to talk about it. Totally fine, totally treatable if that's what it is. But it's just an autoimmune. Do you call it a disorder when it's something like that?
Yeah.
It's not a disease, but it's just like a disorder.
It's a disorder.
Okay.
Yep.
It can become a disease if you are not
untreated.
Getting it under control and treating the disorder, then you could deal with disease as a result. So I don't know what an endocrinologist will do to further look at that and definitively say. But the reason I want to talk about it is because I think people, but especially women, we power through a lot of things. We oversimplify a lot of things that are going on with us. And autoimmune disorders in particular are so nonlinear and so, what's the word I'm looking for? On and off. They're not consistent.
Yeah.
They're gradual. And so it's very easy to dismiss them as being caused by other things, treating it as just like a coincidence or, whatever, and not stringing them together as something that could be could be a problem. Something larger.
Well, and they always blame it on your hormones, and they don't want to check your hormones, right?
Yeah.
So if you say I'm constantly tired, oh, your hormones are probably messed up, and then they move on because your insurance doesn't want to pay for hormone blood work.
Yeah.
It's a real. So, with my health challenges, I had to go to oncology, right? And I got this fabulous doctor And she told me about a study that they had done in Europe where they sent 100 men in and 100 women in, gave them the exact same symptoms to see how they would be treated. 90% of the men got a full workup. 50% of the women got pushed antidepressants. 30% of the women got some workup, and only 20% of the women got a full workup.
Wow.
And then you add race as a factor on top of that, and the numbers plummet through the floor of people who actually get assistance and help.
Women of color, you think it's bad for women?
Right.
Women of color is unbelievable.
Yeah.
They are treated so poorly by the healthcare system.
Which is crazy to me. Why is it?
Where does that come from?
Right. Where does that come from? Is it because we're in a male-dominated healthcare culture? But honestly, I've been treated worse by female doctors than I have been by
I was
male
going to
doctors.
say, I'll get back to my story in a second. I want to hear more about what Rachel's talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, I think the other thing that she was saying is just autoimmune takes years to diagnose typically, no matter if you are male or female. So if you're not getting that workup even started because you're getting pushed antidepressants, which is the number one thing women get pushed, because, oh, it's in your head. Oh, you're just making it up. It's not, especially when a test comes back negative. Like the amount of fight you have to put and the amount of advocacy you have to do for you to even get the care you need, let alone having any other obstacle in getting that care, is insane.
Well,
But
there was
it's
always something else I could point to. So I'll try not to spend too long on the backstory here, but just in case anybody else is having these things occur, I feel like it can help, right? So some of the most common symptoms are fatigue. This is for the Hashimoto's thyroiditis specifically. I can't speak for all autoimmune disorders. Fatigue, but like in my case, I've had extreme fatigue, but it's on and off, and it hasn't been debilitating. By debilitating, I mean not the kind of fatigue where I wake up and I can't physically get out of the bed. This is the fatigue like when it comes on, I do feel like I'm constantly having to power through, and I don't have the drive to want to do anything outside of what is necessary, right? But I'm still pushing through to do what is necessary because I'm still a wife and a mom and I have a full-time job and all the things. But outside of pushing through what's necessary, I'm miserable. I'm frustrated. I'm short fused because I just feel bad that I even have to be upright and engaging with people. Right. And it takes every ounce of energy to just be agreeable in those moments. So then outside of that, I'm not myself. Right. But again, it comes and goes. Like I'll go through periods where I feel fairly normal. But also now I don't even know what normal is because I've been dealing with the on and off fatigue for so long that I don't know. Like I have a different baseline now. So I don't remember what a normal energy level feels like.
And I remember too, right, when we were talking about potentially perimenopause, right? Because that term's been circling around of, oh, well, it must be that, right? And again, Cassandra, to your point, it must be hormones to treat that, right?
Yep.
And so many, and look, physician's defense, so many of these things share so many similar symptoms, right? It's not a one size fits all. Everybody's story is going to be different and journey's going to be different. But I feel like, especially with society right now, like pushing these labels out there, it's very easy to just get stuck with one of those labels versus getting to the root of the problem.
Well, think about it. Fatigue is not measurable.
Right.
Which means it's very subjective, depending on the person that you're talking to. What has been their normal? What does a person's routine look like? How are they taking care of their body? How are they prioritizing sleep? And so in my mind, I was always thinking for a long time, I was thinking, of course I'm tired. I work full time. I have 2 kids. I am in my 30s now. I'm sure this is just something that happens by a certain
older you
point.
get.
Correct. That I hear people say that. So for a long time, I just shrugged it off. And what was interesting was when it finally did get to the point where Jessica, is making comments about how often I'm tired and how much I'm sleeping or how much sleep I can like stay asleep for if I'm allowed to. And then I talked to my primary about it and I start getting all these, like, I checked let me back up. So the fatigue is one thing. Cycle irregularity became a thing. But again, perimenopause was my thought, right? I had my hormones checked. twice. My like like female hormones, well, not just female, I guess it was all of them, testosterone, all the things, always normal. I had all my vitamin levels checked. Like I'm thinking could be iron, could be B12. Is it an absorption issue? Like what are the things? So to the point where my original primary had me do a sleep study. She ordered an at-home sleep study because at a certain point she's thinking maybe you have a I don't know, not like a kind of like a sleep disorder basically, where you're sleeping but you're not resting enough. So then you're staying tired all the time. But there was something that came up on there, but it was like one of those, I think we talked about it in a previous episode. It's just one of those like, well, we can't rule it out kind of situations, but not anything glaringly obvious. So another one is skin issues. Well, I have had this flare up, but at the time, so my eczema came back. And I hadn't dealt with, and we talked about this in a previous episode, I hadn't dealt with eczema since I was a kid. Well, you could say maybe it's allergy related. Maybe I'm now dealing with allergies for the first time in my life in my 30s. Or maybe it's that steroid I had to be put on for that bronchitis I had.
Yeah.
You know, like there's
you
just
can start to justify and quantify. Like you
Exactly.
can say, "Oh, this is what this is. This is not anything." But the bottom line of this whole entire thing is, you know your body better than anybody knows your body, and don't just allow someone else to poo-poo your feelings and poo-poo and say, it's hormones," or you're just getting older," or "Oh, you just need more rest." Like, if you get to that point where you know something is wrong, you have to be your own advocate and it is literally, I'm a prime example of that because I'm going to have another surgery, it looks like, but I have not stopped trying to fix what I know is wrong, even though other doctors have said, you're fine. No, something is wrong. Right. I need to get fixed.
Well, and I think we do so much better as humans of going after the fix when it's work or when it's with the kids or
when
it's with
someone
the house.
else, when it's someone else that we're responsible for that we care
or something,
about.
Right? Yep. It's really hard when it's you because you don't view you the same, right? Like you give yourself all the passes, you give yourself all the excuses. The same when they say, well, why don't you go to the gym? And people come up with 15 reasons as to why they didn't go to the gym, right? It's that same concept. And I think, again, learning how to advocate for you is probably one of the hardest lessons. Absolutely. I work with my daughter on that daily of like, you need to speak up. You need to say how you're feeling. You need to be, when we go to the doctor, you're talking, because we also as parents have a high tendency to talk for our children. Because at some age, right, they can talk for themselves and they should be advocating for themselves and they should learn that lesson early and often. And I think that's one thing like we can do to help our kids is like use great stories, right, to help us as adults, but use this story to teach your children to do it differently.
Yes.
Well, I'll just leave you with a couple things. The one symptom that I discovered that I didn't even know was a symptom of anything, but I've had. So if any of this has resonated with you and you're like, I've been dealing with this kind of stuff on and off too. Hair thinning of your outer eyebrows is very common with thyroid stuff by Hashimoto's. And what is so wild, I had this get so bad at one point that I had almost no hair left on this outer, like 1/3 of a quarter. Like I had like 3 hairs. And again, I was just like, I'm just getting of a certain age and my hair's starting to, because it was thinning in the front a little bit too. But I was like, okay, it just must be eyebrows too. They've grown completely back with seemingly no reason why. No, like, again,
it's
this
the
kind
fluctuations
of
of your levels, right? Like, so when it gets bad, things happen and then it gets better. And so that's why it's hard to also figure out.
You're not going to have all the symptoms at one time. You're going to have some and then they're going to go away. And then you're going to get others and they're going to go away. So like these ladies said, advocate for yourself. And if you think it could be your thyroid, specifically request a full thyroid panel. Don't let them stop at, the whatever.
Just doing your TSH,
the typical ones.
Typical.
Trust your doctor, but advocate. It's always a fine line.
Trust but verify.
Trust but verify.
And remember, we are not physicians and we do not play them
No.
on TV. This is just Caramie's personal story. And
I'm not
hopefully it
diagnosing
helps.
you.
Right.
I'm just
hopefully
saying.
it helps.
Hopefully someone says, I need to go and have my stuff checked out. And then they come
Right.
back and say, thank you, because now I'm taking medication or something and I
Right.
feel better.
Well, and, you know, it reminds me of what we talked about last week, Caramie, when you were saying, like, you know, those are things you maybe don't know, right? Like there's a lot of data points you don't know. So now maybe at least you know what to go ask for, right? Like
Right.
part of advocating for yourself is sometimes you don't know what to say. You don't know how
Correct.
to ask.
Correct.
So hopefully, you know, Caramie's story can give you, if you're experiencing any of those things, something to go ask for from your physician.
Yep.
My husband did, after he listened to the episode, he was like, you know, I never thought about it, but I didn't know where your thyroid was either. I'm like, how
God
did you
bless
not
him.
know that it was in your neck? Because I literally have to have a yearly ultrasound on my thyroid. He's like, I don't know. I just never realized
Never
it
asked
was
you
in
where
your
they were
neck.
scanning
Yeah.
it.
I was like, okay.
Oh,
Well-
speaking of spouses listening to the episodes, Rachel, Jessica just told me a couple days ago, she said, hey, by the way, I listened to y'all's last episode, and just to set the record straight, our pool guy is doing the thickest mill liner that exists. And I was
There you
like,
go.
okay. She said, I don't remember what the number was that he said it was, but he said it would be the thickest mill they make. And I was like, I'll be sure to let the ladies know.
Yeah. Glad we could close that loop.
Glad we could close that loop.
Yeah.
And Cassandra, well, I may have already told you this. I got my new lashes. So shout out Wasato customer service.
Oh, yeah.
I did message them instead of just ordering another pair, and they sent me, I just sent them the picture of what had happened, and they were like, cool, happy to send you another one. I got them in like 2 business days, and they sent me an eyebrow pencil too. But y'all see these eyebrows? They're thick enough. I don't need no eyebrow pencil. But they were really nice. They were like, here, have this free gift. We're sorry for your inconvenience.
But if the
they go
eyebrow
away,
hair on the end goes away, you got a pencil already to take care of.
Preach. Yeah. So they're back. We'll see how long these, but are yours doing okay?
Yeah, so far I've
Okay,
worn
good.
mine 5 or 6 times, and I wore them yesterday. They're great. Love them.
Cool.
Magnetic lashes for the win.
Yep.
I
Rachel,
may wear them today
it's time.
because my eyes are
Time for you
hurting
to
so
buy.
bad, and
No,
I
look,
don't
I
need it.
appreciate the whole conversation around skincare, the whole conversation around makeup and all the things, but I'm not doing it, ladies.
She's
I
rolling her
love
eyes
you
like,
both
"Good
for
Lord."
doing all of that, but it ain't happening. Like I did, and I think part of that comes from, like, when I was younger, from 2 to 18, I was in dance, right? And you did the full makeup for games and for all the things, right? And it
Mhm.
just, to me, like, it was so taxing to do
Yeah.
at one point because you had to look the same. Like, you weren't doing it for beauty purposes, you were doing it for a costume look.
Right.
Mhm.
That it was just,
And
it
so
became over the top. Right.
big eyes,
And
big
then
lips. Yeah.
and then early in my career, I did it because that's what you had to do. You had to look a certain
Right.
way. I mean, still had to wear tights when you wore a dress, like the whole thing. Yeah, yeah. Welcome to,
God, Rachel,
even
how
when,
old
I haven't
are
wore
you?
tights since I was
yeah,
a kid.
exactly. But in oil and gas, there was a certain expectation. And, I went through all of that and I was like, okay. And then every time I go on stage for presentations, you got to wear makeup or you wash completely out.
Yeah.
And again, it's that over the top makeup. It's not just a general application. So, like, I shocked my daughter the other day because I wore mascara. She's like, what are you doing today? You wore mascara. I was like, I don't know. I just felt like
it.
doing it. But yeah, it ain't happening. I
See,
appreciate
I'm the
you for
opposite.
it.
I love the way I feel when I put it on.
Yeah.
So I
Now,
like it
see,
better. Like, I don't care though. I'll go out like this. Like, I'm on camera
yeah.
right now. I have nothing on. Don't care.
But see, like, if I'm going for like a date night or, the Mardi Gras ball or something like that, I'll do it. I'll do it right, but it ain't happening every day.
I do it
That
most
ship has
days.
sailed.
Sometimes it doesn't happen first thing in the morning, but I always try to put on my makeup.
I
No,
love
see,
how I'm the middle ground with y'all, because like Cassandra, I don't want to say she does a full beat, but she does a full beat compared
Well,
to what
yeah.
I do. She's got the tinted moisturizer or the
Mhm.
foundation, the light coverage foundation. She's got the liner and the lipstick and the
And the hair.
eyebrow pencil and the mask, the lashes and the hair. And you look gorgeous when you do it. You do it very well.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Not that you don't look gorgeous.
No,
yeah,
you do. You look gorgeous all the time.
Okay.
This is
clarifying.
But like some people do their makeup and you look at them and you're like, please don't do that again. So you do a great job.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
But I just do something on my eyes just because I feel like I look more awake, like a bit more, like less. I don't know.
You just look less tired. You do.
Yeah, exactly. But I do not have the energy or the patience to put stuff all over my whole face. And that's what devastated me so much when I started dealing with the acne, because I was never a person. I felt like I needed to cover it up, but I hated it.
Yeah. You want your clear skin so you can just be barefaced.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Shout out
to
my dermatologist.
Beautiful. I raised, unknowingly to me, a total girly girl. She does her hair. She does her makeup. Like she
I was
literally.
Gonna say, even on the weekend, Kinley's got one.
She wakes up at like 6 a.m. on a school day so that she can get fully ready. And we are glam to the top, baby. We're putting eyelashes on. We're doing the single individual glue-on eyelashes too. We're not
kid after my own heart right there. Put the whole beat on, baby.
She is total, like in that respect, she reminds me total Southern Belle, right? I'm not walking out the house without looking like perfection. Sometimes I question the outfit choices. Oh, by the way, this morning, it was so great. I get this FaceTime call from her because she's walking to the bus stop, and I get the sprinklers are on at the front of the subdivision, and I am not about to get wet, and I am not about to ruin this hair, and I am not about, and like this whole like panic. And I'm like, okay. And so she's just like, and then the bus comes and she goes, and the bus is here. Bye. And she hangs up the phone and gets on the bus.
She was going through it this morning, honey.
Oh,
how dare they turn on these sprinklers to wet my hair?
Oh my goodness gracious!
Don't mess with the princess.
I definitely remember caring more at that age. Like I used to get up at like 5:45 to curl my hair with curlers in high school.
See, I am the total opposite. I guess that's where I've changed in my older years, because when I was in high school, it was a ponytail and some mascara, jeans and a t-shirt every day. I did not care. And these girls nowadays, like in middle school, are doing these full beat routines that rival anything that I could ever try to do.
Yeah. If you looked at Kinley's routine,
products for days.
But it's amazing.
I do have a problem. I have a lot of products too, but
it's amazing to me though how kids, in so many ways, like they just end up being how they're going to be. Like I know there's some amount of social influence, no matter what. Like even if you think you're keeping them from it, they're getting some amount somewhere because they do live in the world.
Yeah.
But like look at my daughter. She's 4.5, or she'll be 5 in November, right? So whatever that math is. She has been obsessed with dress up things since she was old enough to have any sort of opinion. And when if she's ever with me when I go into Ulta, she loves that freaking store. She wants to go look at the shiny glosses. She wants, like, if you will buy her anything from that store, she doesn't even care what it does. She just is so excited about it. And look at
me. Note to self: when I get those little free kits from like Sephora, the places I don't use, I'm giving them to Collier. That
you will be her best friend for life.
I never use those products,
but she doesn't have a Facebook. She doesn't get on YouTube. Like
Well, and you and Jessica are neither one that way.
Exactly.
So that's just her.
Although I will say there is something about the Ulta store and the lighting, where even as a person who doesn't, I do appreciate it.
And
like
it's a lot of colors. All the products are so
very
neat to look at.
kid friendly with all the things.
Yeah. It's very like kid in a candy shop. Well, and too, like, again, I don't do makeup like that. Kinley taught herself off of YouTube. Like everything that she learned how to do, she literally has a desk, like a writing desk with drawers. It is full of makeup, every single thing, because that was her vanity. That's
going to be Collier. I'm telling you, I've already figured I'm going to have to go to IKEA and get the thing that has the double drawers, or at least one drawer, and then put the mirror up. It's going to be a whole thing.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to be a fight.
She's going to be painting those nails. She's going to be doing her makeup and her hair and have all the tools. Oh yeah.
It'll be a fight about the age thing, because I'm very much like, I think it's cute that she does it at this age, and I want her to like have fun with it, express herself. I don't care how crazy it looks. but you're not going out of the house like that at 4.5. Not because I'm worried about what other people think about you having it on, but because if you get in the habit of thinking you can put that stuff on your face and go out, now you're not going to understand why at 10, I'm not letting you put on lash clusters and a full beat and step out of this house, you know.
No, there's a lot to it. But look, the desk comes in handy. So the desk, future state, when you do interviews, right? When you get into that whole next chapter of your life, where even in high school right now, Kinley's having to do video interviews where she's having to talk to people to join volunteer programs and to start to have that space where, you know, she can really start to build her resume. Got to breathe through that one a little bit.
So scary.
So scary.
It seems like so young, but not.
No, I mean, look, we're at the end of her freshman year.
Yeah.
But can I just say, I don't appreciate that our society has done that. Like, I understand why, like, she has to go with it because she'll be left behind if she doesn't. But I think it's so unfair that as a whole, our kids are already having to prepare in that way at this age. I think there's so much of our life where we get to be adults and have most of it is adult and adult responsibility and pressure and everything else. And I don't see why we can't let our kids just be kids. I mean, if science is telling us their frontal lobe doesn't even fully develop until, 25?
25, yeah.
They can't serve in the military until they're 18, which I also think is a little young, mind you. If they can't even have good decision making until they're 25, make that make sense. But you want them to know what they want to do with the rest of their life by the time they're 18, which means to prepare for turning 18.
You got to be 14
and 14 and 15. They need to be. You're expecting them to be so future minded that they're being super careful on social media to not leave a digital footprint that's embarrassing. You want them to start planning all their free time around what that's going to look like on a college application. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, there's definitely, it's a lot of pressure, but on the flip side of it, right? Because we got to turn it into a positive if we can.
We have to.
If we can. It's a hard part, but I mean, we can try.
We have the power to change it.
There you go.
That's right.
The big thing on that is I do appreciate that she's getting the opportunity to learn the skills because I didn't have that, right? When I went in for my first job interview, it was my first time ever having that conversation. And I felt like I was at a disadvantage because I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how to prepare. Now they have the internet. It's a lot different, right? They could maybe research those things. But I do think it is a skill that you have to learn. I think even as adults, you know, we sometimes fail at interviews, and failing at interviews is okay, but it's what you do next, right? And I think, you know, one of the biggest things that we try to encourage people to do is ask at the interview, did I do anything that didn't meet your expectations or something I could have clarified further? And the big thing about that is be prepared for what's said next.
Yeah.
And be prepared for the response, because when you get that feedback, the next thing the interviewer looks for is, what did you do about it?
What did you do with it? Right.
How did you respond? That's going to tell me more about your personality than anything else. So I think getting those skills early, I do agree. It's way too much pressure. I don't think anybody should be able to tell you at 18 or 22 what they're going to do with the entire rest of their lives. And I think we've got to be more iterative as a society to say, like, you can fail now and go do something completely different. And we've got to embrace that. And we've got to embrace the career changes on resumes and not penalize people for them. Right.
Yeah.
All of that needs to change. But in the wake of that not changing, I appreciate her getting to start to learn the skills.
I do too. You know, something simple. I don't remember where I saw this. It may have even been Betsy or something that Tier 4 put out. But a simple thing in interviews that goes a long way. And I think of it both as the person being interviewed and the person giving the interview. Every time you answer a question at the end, ask, did that answer your question? Yeah. And I find that's really good for two reasons. One, it shows that you care whether you're giving them the information they're looking for, which I think as somebody who gives interviews, that would land very well with me. It would show that you're not just doing like filibustering. You are trying to make sure I'm learning about you.
Right.
And then as the person being interviewed, the number of times I've been nervous and felt like I blacked out. Like, they asked me a question and I gave an answer, but now I don't even remember what I like. I kind of remember the question, but I don't know what I just said. So circle back at the end of that and be like, did that answer your question? Like, did you understand the question?
Well, because how many times have you been on the interviewer side and this person has gone on for 5 minutes talking and talking and talking, and maybe they think they're absolutely giving you exactly what you want, they're killing it, they're telling you all those things, and you're sitting on the other side going, that's not what I asked, or I wish you would stop talking so that we could actually get to some relevant topic, right? So I think that is it's a great thing to remember. Did that answer your question? No, not exactly. Can you dive more into X, Y, and Z? And it gets that conversation started so you can actually get more out of the interview and learn more about a person.
And make sure you switch it up. So if you're always asking the same way, like, could I elaborate further? Did that meet the mark? Right? Those same types of questions. But to Cassandra's point just there on, speaking in a 30-minute interview for 15 minutes about one question, make sure to time box yourself.
Yeah.
Right. Make sure to say, like, look at the clock. Don't let it freak you out. But if you only have 30 minutes with a person, you also want to get to the stage where you can ask questions, because then that lets you understand about the company. Remember, interviews are a two-way street. I highly, highly encourage, if you interview people, whatever the time is, split it in half. Plan half of it for you to ask, the other half for the other person to ask, because that's your opportunity to learn about the company. So if you don't get the opportunity in an interview to ask questions, follow up via email. Like, that is a super cool thing to do. Go ahead, send an email after, say, thank you for your time. I was really wondering about these things that we didn't get to. Could you maybe shed some light? It also shows your interest.
Yep.
It also shows that you've thought about this further than just a 30-minute conversation. All of those things will help.
Well, and in that follow-up too, I think mentioning things you heard the interviewer or panel, whatever it is, say that stood out to you as a positive and why you feel like you would be happy to work there goes a long way, because that shows that you were listening as well. You weren't just talking about yourself. You were doing the listening. You were trying to understand what kind of culture you'd be walking into, or the roles and responsibilities of that position, what you heard them say that would be, and why that aligns really well with you, why you would be a good fit in the team goes a long way. I want to say too, though, like when you start listening to leaders talk about interviews and they talk about some helpful things to do, it can feel really overwhelming because it is kind of a lot of things to remember or keep in mind when you're doing these. I want to say that interviewing takes practice. Like interviewing well is not something that most people can just pick up and do one time and put back down and not do it again for 4 years. Like, if you've been out of the habit of that, like if you've been employed for a long time at the same place and not had to change in a while, find a leader. If you have a professional leader in your life who can practice with you and give you feedback, that's really helpful. There's some really cool AI tools out there now where you can practice doing interviews with it and it can give you feedback and help you with that. The more you do it in practice, it's like anything else. When you then have to do it for real, it's muscle memory, these things that we're mentioning, and you feel more comfortable doing it because it's not the first time you're doing it in the last 4 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And make sure too, on the flip side, when an interview doesn't go well, right? I think you don't get advice on that side. When an interview doesn't go well, don't shut down. Don't immediately say, well, I'm never going to talk to these people again. I'm not connecting with them. I'm done, right? That shouldn't be it. An interview might not go well for several different reasons, and several of them might be out of your control, right? You might not get the job because, hey, we're creating a whole team, and these other 3 personalities you're probably not going to fit with. So therefore, we're not doing it, right?
Doesn't mean you're not right for a different job.
Exactly. Or, it might be the size of the team. Maybe you're a great strategic leader, but this team needs somebody to get their hands dirty. That's not your style. Cool. If we ever create a bigger team, you'd be my first call.
Or let's be real. At the end of the day, some interviewers are just having a really bad day. Unfortunately, no fault of yours, depending on what time your interview is and what else has gone on during their day, what they've been put through, what they've had to deal with, they may just not be coming into that conversation in the best frame of mind. They might be swamped with other work. This might be the quote unquote last thing they've got time for. They've really been put through the ringer that day. They're exhausted. They're tired of peopling, like whatever it is. It's not always a reflection of you or what
you may have took the last 30 minutes on their calendar that was available, and they've literally been in back-to-backs all day, and they're just like, oh God, I could really use a break.
Should that be a thing? No, because there's nothing you can do to surmount, that's not your fault, and it shouldn't be that way, but people are human. And so even if they don't intend to, they're bringing all that other stuff into that conversation with them.
The same as you are, right? As the person getting interviewed. And I think, that's a great point, Caramie, to remember that we're both humans.
Yep.
Right? We're both going to make mistakes, and judgment calls may not always be the right frame of mind for that, right? I think one thing that can help too is understand, if you can, how many people you're interviewing against, right? Your candidate number 52 out of 52, right? Or whatever the pool may be for those conversations. Because sometimes if you understand, oh, you're the top 3, okay, great. That's a very different mindset I'm going to walk into versus if I'm one of 10, right? Because your odds are still one of 10.
Right.
So make sure you understand that. And also don't be afraid to ask if there's anything you could demonstrate that other candidates haven't demonstrated.
Yeah.
Ask those questions, especially when you're competing against other people. That's all fair for you to ask.
Well, and I think it's easy to say, hey, be picky, be whatever. Like when you're not like really in need of a job, like if you're desperate for a job, you really just want somebody to give you one, no matter. You may not be looking for the red flags in the interviewer. But if you are in a position where you can really make sure it's the right place for you, just show up authentically. Because if that doesn't land, like, don't worry so much about whether you're putting on the right facade for this person or this panel. Because if you're having to try that hard to get it, you probably aren't going to be happy once you get in there. Like, you really just want to, like, I think about how I am. I start out conversations going out of my way to try to show what kind of person I am and put that other person at ease so that I can learn the real them. Like, I'm not coming in there stuffy and straight faced and like trying to make them put their best foot forward like that. I'm going, hey, this is just a conversation. Like, this is what you can expect out of this conversation. I'm going to ask you some stuff. There'll be time at the end so we can both get to know each other, and then we'll go from there. Like, not everybody's going to be like that. So you have to be prepared for anything. But if you go into one, like if that's the kind of thing you value out of a workplace and you go into one that's not like that, that's telling,
right?
Then maybe that's not the one you want, right?
Well, and the other thing to remember too is you're interviewing your future boss just as much as they're interviewing you. So if you don't like what they have to say or how they have to say things, or you think they're too stoic or they're too energetic on the flip side, right, that they would be draining to you, it's okay to walk away from that opportunity. And it's okay at the end of an interview too, to politely tell the person, hey, thank you for your time, but I don't think this is for me. That is
now that
so
I know
helpful.
more about this role
or
what you're looking for, I appreciate why you need that, but I don't think that's me. Could I do it? Probably, but is it what I'm looking for? No.
As an interviewer, I would so appreciate you taking yourself out of the running rather than me reaching back out and deciding you're the one and then you being like, actually, no. And so
or getting here and being miserable.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be miserable.
No, life's too short to be miserable.
I love to see the humility in people in an interview. Like,
me too.
Honestly, I would be tickled and want to talk to a person again if it was going really poorly and they just all of a sudden said, this interview is not going very well, is it? I can feel like I'm not communicating what I'm trying to very well. I'm very nervous and this is not how I hoped it would go. Can we start over? Or, like even feeling like you're bombing it, I feel like could be turned into a positive if you're just honest and just a human in the conversation, like, whoops, that first 10 minutes was really terrible because I was really nervous, but now I feel better. Can we start over?
Well, I think too, that's going to depend on the person interviewing you.
Correct.
Right. Because if that person is stoic and you don't know if they're feeling good about it or bad about it, you could send yourself down a spiral. Right.
Yeah.
So you do have to be careful, but I do appreciate that of be authentic, be honest, be transparent, right? And see where that takes you. And if you're not feeling it, it's okay. It's okay to say, let's start over, or, hey, I'm out, or whatever. I did have one time though, I interviewed a person and I got on the phone and I said, hey, I'm Rachel Rogers. I'm super excited to meet you. And the person on the phone goes, I knew you were going to be a hard explicitive. I can't do this, and hangs up. Yeah. So I don't recommend that, right? Like I don't recommend when you first introduce yourself.
Panic that fast.
Right. Like take a beat if you're panicking then. But yeah, that's definitely good.
Well, if you're out there interviewing, best of luck.
Yes.
It can be daunting. It's going through the gauntlet sometimes. So we're happy to
reach out.
Our feedback. Yeah. I mean, we don't represent everybody, but we'll certainly tell you what we've learned.
And we interview people a lot.
All the time.
So, we can send you to a boot camp.
We sure can.
There you go. Well, ladies, it's that time.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. We are glad you were here. Please be sure you're taking care of yourself. Sometimes you're just tired from life, but sometimes it's something deeper. So be your biggest advocate, especially if no one else will. Like we said, if you're interviewing, hang in there, reach out. And we drop episodes every Tuesday, so we really hope you'll be here next week. Follow us on socials at Coffee Meets Cloud, or visit our website at coffeemeetscloud.com. And until next time, keep your coffee strong, guys. I will see you ladies later.
See you later.
Bye.